Hey everybody, and welcome to another lesson. Last lesson we did was on ratio and proportions, which was lesson 1 on, lesson 1 in the book on ratio and proportions, but I think as far as my lessons, lesson 18. The last video was the ratio aspect of ratio and proportions. Now we're doing the proportion aspect. Okay, so I have this page up here which is like the introduction to proportion. No problems we have to solve, but it tells you how to do it. I like to put that up there so you can read it. Then the next page is the problem solving, which is what I'm actually going to go through with you, but it's good to know this first, so go ahead and read that. You can pause the video or whatever. Let's try and think. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it, so let's get to the next page. Okay, so here we go. Excuse me. Make this a little larger. Okay, so solve the missing term in each proportion problem. You may use your calculator for questions 9 through 16. I love it when they say that, because some of these take a really long time and it's easier to use your calculator, although it's good to know how to do it without the calculator. Note, answers will not always be whole numbers. Well, that is good to know. Thanks for telling us. Sorry, some of these numbers are a little fuzzy, but we can make it out. Okay, so as you notice from the last page, I'm gonna go ahead. It kind of told you how to multiply this. I'll tell you how I like to think of it, okay? Because the thing is, with math, there's so many formulas that it's so easy to forget. So we'll put 2/3 over equals x over 18. So like I was saying, it's easy to forget because there's so many formulas. So one thing for this particular one, I like to think of it like this. Let me write this first. X over 18. So as we know in the last page, it said to basically multiply then divide. Okay, so generally, if not always, the proportion you'll be doing will be on the right hand side, because you already know this number here, this fraction or this amount. Then you're trying to find an equal proportion to it on a larger scale. So the left side will always be there, and this will not. Okay, the missing variable will be on one of these on the right side. Okay, so I like to think of it always multiply towards the x, so we always multiply diagonally, and towards the side with the missing variable. Okay, so always multiply first towards the side with the missing variable, and then divide back to the last variable. So you can think of it like this. This line here is multiplication. This line here is division. Same thing as if it were like this. Okay, 2/3. This isn't going to be a real proportion here, but for example, if it was like this, excuse me, guys, it would be, then you would do multiply this way, then divide. Okay, and always the direction of the x. So that's how I like to think of it. Okay, so we will start with numero uno, which is 2/3 over equals x over 18. I may or may not do all of these, guys, because this could seriously take a long time. Could be like an over an hour video if I did each of them. But I definitely want to get the main idea across to you. So 2 times 18, remember we multiply this way, then divide this way. 2 times 18, we'll set this up. So this isn't a lesson on multiplication. When you're dealing with proportions, you should already know multiplication. So some of these, like I know this is 36. So I'm writing this one out so you can really see how the process goes. But I won't be doing that on all of them. I'll just be like, okay, 2 times 18 is 36, and then divide it by 3, okay, which should be 12. And then that would be our answer, 12 over 18, which will help it go quicker, but this is basically how you can write it out. So 2 times 8 is 16, okay, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1, so yeah, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 that we carried up here, 36, okay, now we need to divide this way. So, let's set that up. 3 divided by 18, well, it's 3 going to 1. Sorry, I said 3 divided by 18, I meant 18 divided by 3. Does 3 go into 1? No, it does not. So we have to go 3 times, goes into 18, well, 3 times 6 is 18. So we go 3 goes into 18 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. And that is 0. Alrighty then, I know that's not the answer, so I'm just trying to see, because I know 12 is the answer. I'm trying to see what step I missed here. Um, 2 times 18 is 36. Just do them kind of having a brain freeze here, so, oh, yeah, I was doing 18K, that's what went wrong, guys. I was doing 3 or 18 divided by 3. It's supposed to be 36. Duh. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, I'll probably do a few more of those while I'm here, but I'll correct it. So 3 goes into 3. One times 3 is 3. 0, 3, so yeah, 3 minus 3 is 0. Then, does 3 go into 0? No, so we have to bring down the 6, like that. Brought it down. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So that is your answer, guys. So x equals 12. Okay. Let's erase this and put a 12 there. Now that's equal proportion. Okay. Number 2 is 3 over 5 equals 27 over x. So remember, all's multiply towards the side that has the missing variable, which is the x. So multiply this way. 5 times 27. 7 times 5 is 35. Put this here. So, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13, so 135. then remember we divide this way. So, but not 27 like I did last time. You would divide the product of 5 times 7 by 3. So 3 into 135. 3 goes into 13 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. 3 goes into 1. No, it does not. So you need to bring down the 5. 3 goes into 15. 5 times. Perfect. So the answer here is x. X equals 45. Okay? And that would be the equal proportion. Okay, now we'll go to number 3, 6 over 5 is equal to 3 over x. Okay, so multiply this way. So 3 times 5 is 15. Then divide this way, which is 6 goes into 15. 6 goes into 15 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. And we have 15 minus 12 is 3. Okay? So we have a remainder. Remember, it said here, up here, answers will not always be whole numbers. So as we can see, this is not a whole number. But we know that 3, the remainder 3, is half of 6. So the answer here is x equals 2.5, because we know, well, let me write the other one, or 2.5. Okay, because we know that 3 remaining of 6, anytime you have the top number that is half of the bottom number, we know this represents half. Okay, sorry guys, here I put 2 1/3, I meant 2.5. Okay, another way of writing half is like this, which should be the proper way because it's reduced to the lowest terms. Or if you want to write it in decimal form, it's like this, 0.5, which for another number would be 1.5, which would also mean 1.5, etc., etc. So 6, the number there is 2.5. It's your answer, or 2.5. Okay, now we are on numero 4. Numero is number in Spanish, in case you didn't know that. 15, just so you don't think, what's this weirdo talking about? Actually talking math related. So 15 equals x over 8. And by the way, I'm using a trackpad, so it's a little bit messy here. So remember, all is multiplied towards the side with the x, and we multiply diagonally. 8 times 15 is, I believe I could do that one in my head, but 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 4 is 12. So we have 120. So now we have to divide this way, okay? Take the product of 15 times 8 and divide it by 2. So the product was Sorry, not the product, the sum. Okay, so 120 divided by 2. We know half of 120 is 60, because 60 plus 60 is 120. So I'm just gonna not even do this. 60, you can do it the proper way if you like, but that's how you do that. So that would be 60 x equals 60. Hip hip hooray. Okay, number 5 is 4 over $212 equals 7 over x. Yes, it does. So 7 times 212, remember, we multiply towards the side of the x diagonally. So 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7, plus the 1 that we carried is 8. 7 times 2 is 14 again. So we have 1,484. We need to divide this way. So 4, or 1484 divided by 4. 4 goes into 14 how many times? 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so 4 minus 2 is 2. Does 4 go into 2? No, so bring down the 8. 4 goes into 28 7 times, because 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, 28 minus 28 is 0. 4 goes into 0? No, it does not. So we need to bring down this 4 here. Okay, 4 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 4 is 4, and we have 0 remainder. So that is your answer, 371 for number 5. Okay, now number 6, 25. Hope you guys are kind of getting the drift of this. This would basically be exactly the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip this. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the answers, because I do have them written down. The answer to 6 would be 80. The answer to 7 would be, well, since this one's a little bit, I'll do this, since it's going to be not a whole number. 7 over 30 x over 9. Okay, so remember, multiply diagonally towards the side with the x, or the missing variable. Yeah, so 7 times 9 is 63. So then we have 30, since we're dividing that way, 30 into 63. Well, 30 and 6 goes into 63 twice. 2 times 30 is 60. 63 minus 60 is 3. So we have 30 with the remainder of 3. Okay. And we know that, okay, so let's do this to see if we can turn this into decimal, or maybe we can keep it a fraction. 3 remainder over 30. 30 is the whole, what it takes to make 1, and we have 3 left of that. 3 pieces of that 30. Excuse me. Okay. So, basically, we have to reduce this. What's the number that goes into both of these? Well, 3 goes into both of them. 3 goes into itself 1 time. And 3 goes into 30 3 times. Sorry. 3 goes into 30 10 times. Okay, because 3 times 10 is 30. So now we have the fraction 1/10. So our answer here would be x equals 2. Okay. And then the 3 over 30, which reduced is 1/10. Okay, so that is your answer there. You could actually also write this as, in decimal form, 2.1. Okay, so both these are right. Although you would want to write this one up here. Okay. .1. Okay. Now we have 0.5 over 12 is equal to 3 over, let me make that 3 a little more 3-ish. 3 over x. So remember, multiply diagonally. 3 times 12 is 36. Then 36 divided, so multiplication, division, 36 divided by 0.5, which is a half. So since we can't use a decimal as the divisor, we have to move it over once. Then we also move it over once here and add a 0. 5 goes into 36 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. 6 minus 1 is 1. Sorry, 6 minus 5 is 1. I'm thinking of something else, guys, right now. So 3 minus 3 is 0, obviously. So 5 goes into 1, it does not. So you have to bring down this 0. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Perfect. So for number 8, 72 is your answer. X equals 72. And it does say for this, for 9 to 20, we can use a calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Again, you can do these, you can do 9 through 20 the same way that we've been doing this. It just the same way we've been doing the ones previously. Just since these are larger numbers, it allows us to use the calculator. Okay, so 2 over 5, well, let me write this down at least. 2 well, 20 over 2.5 equals 100 x over x, okay? This one we can actually do in our head because we know 100 2.5 times is 250. Okay, you could again write that out like times table, but no need for me. So then we multiplied this way. Now we divide this way. Okay, so 20 goes into 25 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. 25 minus 20 is 5. 20 goes into 5. No, it does not. So bring down the 0. 20 goes into 50 2 times with a remainder of 10. Okay, which again, 10 over 20, the remainder is 10, the divisor is 20. Okay, so this always equals half, which in decimal form is 0.5, which is what we'll be using. 12.5 is your wonderful answer. I'm actually looking at my answers because I did these problems before and I got a different answer, so let me just see if I missed a step here. Okay, so 2.5 times 100 equals 250. 150 divided by 20 equals 12.5. Let me just check real quick. Make sure I don't want to give you guys any incorrect information. So I want to see what they're expecting. Yeah, so it is 12.5. I guess maybe I wrote the answer incorrectly earlier, or wrote down the answer for something else. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's clear the canvas. Now number 10 here is well, let me write this first actually. $5. So guys, just to let you know, when you're dealing in dollars, well, let me write this first. Over 2x over 3. When you're dealing in dollars, pardon me, you write this in dollar forms. Whatever the x equals, you'll write it in dollar form, okay? So for example, if it's say the answer is, 8.5, you would write, 8.50, because you do need the cents to be in the hundredths place here. Okay, you need to include the hundredths place is what I'm saying. So remember we multiplied diagonally towards the 3. Okay, so where's our trusty calculator? 3, let's clear this. 3 times 5.96 equals 1788. Okay, now we need to divide 1788 by 2. So divided by 2 equals 894. Actually, we'll just put x equals 894. X equals 894. That's your answer. Okay. Number 11 is 12 over 5. Equals 3 over x. Multiply diagonally. 5 times 3 is 18. Sorry, 15. 12. It's going to be quicker for me just to write this out and bring up the calculator. That's why I'm doing it. 12 goes into 15 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. 3. So we have 1 with the remainder of 3. Okay, so 3 over 12. You know that 3 over 12 is there a number that goes into both of them? Well, yes, 3 goes into 3 one time, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So we know that 1/4 is in the, what do you call it, decimal to fraction equivalent. It's 0.25, okay, because it's 1/4. So did we already divide that? Yeah, we did. So your answer is 1.25. That is number 11. Okay. Now number 12 is for, if at any time, guys, you feel like you already have this, you can skip towards the second part of this, which starts at, I'd say, number 17. 4 over 60 equals 2.5 over x. Okay. 60. Here's 60. We haven't done multiplication with a decimal yet, so I'll just do that for you guys written out. So 60 times 2.5, okay? 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1. So, I'm not sure why I put that little dot there. That's confusing. Bring the decimal over one place. So we have 150. Then we will do, let's use a calculator for that. 150 divided by 4 equals 37.5. So that's your answer. X equals 37.5. Okay. Now we have number 13, 3 over 19 is equal to x over 114. So multiply diagonally towards the side of the x. 3 times 114. 3 times 114 equals 342. Then we need to divide 342 by 19. So divided by 19 equals 18. So the answer to x is 18. Okay. If you were to have 18 here, these would be equal. 3 over 19 and 18 over 14. Okay, so number 14, let's see, 9 over 80.10 is equal to x over 2 84 80. So 9 times 284. Let's see. I'm gonna do that on a calculator. So excuse me. 9 times 284.80 equals 2. Let me set up the division problem here. So 0.10 times, no, sorry. This is not multiplication. That was 2, 5. Gosh, I keep forgetting it. Let me move this. 2 5s, 2,563. $2,563.20. We do have to put the 0 since we are dealing in currency. Okay, so since we can't really do this like this, we have to move the decimal point over 2 spaces to make that a whole number. So we do that here as well. Now we can do the problem. 8,010 goes into 2,563. No, it doesn't, so we have to add the 2. 8,000 goes into 25,632. Yes, it does. 3 times 8,010 is, well, we know 3 times 8 is 24. Okay. Then 10 multiplied 3 times is 30. So we know it's 24,030. Okay. 24,030. Easy enough. 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, so now we have 1,602. Does that 8,010 go into 1,602? It does not, so we have to bring down the 0. Now, does 8,000 go into 8,010 go into 16,000, it goes actually exactly 2 times, because 2 times 8 is 16, okay, which is 16,000 in this case, plus 2 times 10 is 20, so 16,020. Okay, so yes, it goes in there 2 times. 2 times 8,010 is 16,020. There's your answer, folks. 32. So x equals 32. Let's put 32 up there. Perfect. I love it. Okay. $26. This is number 15. $26. Okay. Over $4, or over 4, is equivalent to x over 7. So multiply this way. 7 times 26 equals 182. Okay, so 182 divided by 4. I'm not going to do that problem on paper. So what was it, 182? Or wait, okay, I'm going to do that again because I forgot. 26 times 7 equals 182, yes. Divided by 4 equals 45.5. That is your answer, folks. So 45 can actually, since we are dealing in currency again, we'll put sorry, I was putting 0 there for some strange reason. 45.5, we'll also add the 0 since it's currency. Okay, so that's the equivalent proportion. So number 16, on the last one of these guys, and we have the fun story problems. 24 over 96. It's terrible 9, I know. 7 over x. So 96 times 7. 96 times 7 equals 672. Divide that by 24 equals 28. X equals 28. So 28 is your answer. Alright guys, now let's move on to the story problems. Okay, to the nearest cent, well, let's read this first. Choose the best answer to each question. You may use a calculator for questions 20 through 22. A store is advertising the following sale: tomato soup, 4 cans for 98 cents. To the nearest cent, how much would 5 cans of tomato soup cost? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Gosh. So we have 4 cans that cost 98 cents each. Not each. They cost 99 cents total. So we need to see what 5 would cost. So remember, multiply towards the x. 98 times 5. I could figure that out in my head. It's almost 500. Think 5, 492. Okay, 5 times 98 equals 490. Yes, sorry. Okay, 490 divided by 4 equals 122. Actually, that would be, 1 second. See, that's $122. We know 5 does not equal that. I forgot to put the point in front of, or the decimal in front of the 98. So 0.98 times 5 equals 4.9 divided by 4 equals $1. So it says to the nearest cent. Okay, so we know with dollars and cents we would stop right over here because a third one would equal another whole number. So well, not, yeah, instead of adding another one you would just make it a whole number. Let's see, 122, and so the nearest cent, since it's 5, we round it up and make it a 3, so 1.23. That's what x equals. Okay, so 5 cans is $1.23. Okay, now number 18. The Bay City Cardinals have won 5 out of 8 games. At the same rate, how many games will they have to play to win 60? So they've won 5 out of 8 games. Okay, so we want to put 60 on the top here, since the top identifies the amount of games they've won. They've won 5 over here, but to win 60 they have to play how many games? 6 times 8, 8 times 60, you can do 6 times 8 is 48, then add a 0, so 480. Then divide it by the 5. 5 goes into 48. 9 times 5 is 45. 8 minus 5 is 3. Okay, 5 goes into 3. No, it doesn't, so bring down the 0. 5 goes into 30. 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so 96 is your answer for that, ladies and gentlemen. Carla drove her truck 4.14 miles on 18 gallons of gasoline. How many miles did she drive per gallon? How many miles? Yeah. Okay, so 414 over 18 gallons. So whenever you have this, so per gallon. Okay, so this amount per is 1. Okay. It says that over here too. Let me see if I can find it. It's on the first paper that we had opened. Let's see. This one here. Oh, stupid. I closed. Okay, so I think it says, yeah, per gallon. Examples: Connie drove 276. Trying to see if this word. Okay, the word per. So it's not. In word form, rates are often expressed using the word per. A rate compares a quantity to 1. When a rate is written in fraction form, its denominator is always 1. In word form, rates are often expressed using the word per. So we know that the word per is 1. Okay? So there we have it. So we put the 1 there. Now we need to multiply. 1 times 414, we know that that is 414. So we can do 414 divided by 18 equals 23. And there we have it. 23. Here we go. It would be x equals 23. So, next one. Shucks. Okay, 20. The scale on a map reads 2 centimeters per 150 kilometers. So 2 centimeters per 150 kilometers. How many kilometers would be represented by a distance of 4.6 centimeters? So we know that the centimeters is on top, so we'll continue in like form. 4.6. So let's do that calculation. 150 times 4.6. 150 times 4.6 equals 690. Now divide by 2 is 345. So x equals 345. Okay, 4.6 centimeters on the map equals 345 miles. Okay, now which number are we on? We are on number 21. So 2 ingredients in a recipe are 2.5 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of sugar. If June keeps the proportion the same, how many cups of flour should she add to 4 cups of sugar? So here we go. We'll do 2.5, okay? 2.5, because half is always 0.5. Over 1.5. Okay, so if 1.5 cups or 1.5 cups is the sugar, we know we need to write the other, it says 4 cups of sugar, we know we need to keep the other 4 cups of sugar in the same place, which is on the bottom and not on the top. Okay, so 4 times 2.5, I know that that is 10, so I'm not even going to do the math on that. Then I'll do the math on this for you. 1.5. So we have to move this decimal over because the divisor has to be a whole number, and the decimal is assumed to have already been here, so we need to move it one place over here as well to keep it in the right proportion. So 15 goes into 100. Let's see. 15 times 3 is 45, so times 6 would be 90, and we know it wouldn't go in there anymore because times 7 would be 105. 15 goes into 100 6 times. 6 times 15 is 90. 100 minus 90 we know is 10. So your answer is 6 with 10 remaining, which 10 over 15 equals 2/3. Okay, this is why. 10 over 13 is, sorry, 15. Don't know why I said 13. I told you I'd be making mistakes like this in the beginning. So 5 goes into 10, Find the highest number that goes into both of them. 5 goes into 10 2 times. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 2/3, okay? So 2/3, yeah, we have 6 and 2/3 as the answer. So the answer would be A over here. See? 21, 6, and 2/3. Okay. Okay, number 22. Claudia drove 155 miles in 2.5 hours. So 155 miles in 2.5 hours. Which of the following expressions could be used to find how many miles she can drive? She can drive in 7 hours. So we know that this is the hours down here, so we'll put hours here. So we know that we would need to multiply 155 times 7 and divide it by 2.5. So let's see, 155 times 7 divided by 2.5. So we got lucky, it's right on top. So A is the answer for that. Okay, remember, multiply towards the x, the side with the x diagonally, then divide this way. Anyways, guys, that's the end of that. Thank you for watching. If you appreciated it, please like and subscribe. If you have anybody that's going through the GED book, the math section, let them know about my channel, because I go through each little step here. It does help just to watch somebody do it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys on the next lesson.